What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Starting 11 for the second last time this season. Ferris Muthana, oh my goodness. It feels like only yesterday. If yesterday started in August.
Mm-hmm.
It's so long. This season is so long. But I'm super happy to be talking about the English Premier League, especially with our special guest host this week, Ferris Muthana. Ferris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We got European places, baby.
Well, the hunt for European places keeps on. Who knows where everyone's going to end up yet? There's
Well,
some.
we're second, so I don't have to worry
Oh,
about
you're talking
anything.
about if you want to talk Arsenal, then
Yes,
yes, you got European places. You will be the bridesmaid once again. You know what I mean?
yes, yes.
All right. Well, shall we get started? Because this thing
Absolutely.
is going to start on Friday. And speaking of European places, so Villa is going to start the week. They need to win. Well, if Villa's going to have a chance, they can't drop points. They need to win. This week they got pretty much a free square, as free a square, as a free as much of a free 3 points as you can get while still being in the Premier League. 'Cause they took on those Tottenham Hotspurs. Fairs, I'm sure you're a big fan. No, you're just nodding your head.
No,
You
no, no.
don't even have the words to say it. Okay.
They're a disgusting organization, and they're a bunch of
Wow.
losers. No, no, no. I didn't fully, I'm an old new Arsenal fan, right? So I used to follow soccer. I like Thierry Henry, but then I kind of stopped watching soccer altogether,
Sure.
right? And then 2021 happened, and I find out Adelia's an Arsenal fan, and Adelia brought me back. So I said I need a team, and she was like, "Be an Arsenal fan." And I was like, "You know what, Adelia? I agree because I love Patrick Vieira, I love Thierry Henry, I love Dennis Bergkamp. These are my guys. I love Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp is one of the greatest tens to grace God's green earth, and no one talks about him like that anymore. And I'm very upset. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. Uh, I knew we hated Tottenham. I hate them. I'm fine. I know about the Saul Campbell incident. It's whatever. But I truly never really understood my hatred for them until I found out that they were okay with losing than winning a match for Europe just because Arsenal would have won something if they won. That's how I know they're a sack of shit losers. And yearly, they prove me right. That's all I have to say.
Well, this year is unprecedented by how far they've fallen.
Yes.
Uh, Not only from the grace
I am very
God
upset at Southampton
in the
and
league,
Leicester City. I'm upset at them because they should be because they're former Premier League run clubs. They only been in the championship for like a year or two, so they still had some stuff. They could have gave it a good go, but they didn't because like what the hell is wrong with them? Ipswich Town, I had no faith in them. I had zero faith in them. I thought they were going to go down. I had no faith in them. No offense to Kieran Culkin, little Ed Sheeran. I had no faith. I had no faith in them. Like no faith in the Ed Sheerans.
hmm
But the other two, I thought they would do a little bit better. And if they did a little bit better, we could be talking about Man United and Tottenham being relegated. But unfortunately, apparently, anytime a championship team becomes a Premier League team, they decide to stop knowing how to play soccer, which I don't understand. I'm sorry, Rob. What was your question again?
There was no question.
Okay.
I only mentioned the name Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, moving to the actual match. No score throughout the first half. Second half, the goals come not from the usual. You think Villa. You think of a few different sources. It doesn't
Ollie
come from the
Watkins.
usual. Doesn't come from the usual sources here. This is from a first coming from a John McGinn corner. Matty Cash is going to head to head to Esri Konsa, who finds the net. Just his second goal of the year. Congratulations for him. And then
Mhm.
in the 73rd minute, Boubacar Kamara is given far too much space for whatever reason at the top of the box. There's three Spurs defenders watching him just move around to where he wants to shoot. He puts a nice hard low shot to the bottom corner past Anton Kinski, who was in for Vicario. Final score 2-0. Spurs put three shots at net, one on. all by Son, all in the first half. They're as low as you can go and still stay in the Premier League. They're in 17th. Villa's going to push past City now because they're going to wait until the Tuesday match to play.
Mhm.
Chelsea's game was ongoing at the same time, so they were actually ahead of Chelsea at this moment. But we're going to go to that Chelsea match. They're taking on United, and I'm going to tell you what, pretty discouraged early on. Chelsea not looking great at all,
Mhm.
especially since it's at home. But I always had this thing in my head that wonderful game last year where out of nowhere, young Cole Palmer wins it at the death because United just fails to pay attention. It goes off of who did it go off of? I can't remember. Was it It may have been Garnacho, and into the net, but
I think it was Martinez.
it could have been Martinez. So
Garnacho don't play no defense.
no, but they had everybody in the box. Everybody was in the box because it was a corner,
Mm.
and it was at the
Maybe
death.
Garnacho.
It was at the death. But anyways, 16 minutes in, I'm pretty angry because Harry Maguire finds some space. A pass comes into him. He'll touch it in. Here's the problem. He was offside. It took a little.
Thank the Lord.
It took a little bit to determine it, but yeah, VAR calls it back offside. And then Chelsea decided, whoa, we can settle in a bit here. Reece James puts a hell of a shot in on net. You could see the thing because it was a good camera angle. You just see how the ball is moving when he hits it. It goes off the post though. Out. They had Tyreek. Okay, because Nicholas Jackson's going to miss the rest of the year. So that stupid red card he had, putting his elbow out. Dan Burn. But they have Tyreek George decide to run the line. Young Tyreek George, recent academy graduate, by the way. Too young, and it's not his position at all. It didn't look fantastic. He does, in his time playing, get a penalty called. He's taken down in the box, but by Onana. But it looks on second thought like, oh, I don't think Onana touches him at all. So VAR said, whoa, nope, no penalties. So that's fine. Then we get the only goal of the match, and what an incredible goal this is! Reece James turning back to the clock to when he was actually a healthy guy. About 3 years or so. And a wonderful spin move in the box. This time for sure on Garnacho. Makes him eat his shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Then puts the cross into space to nowhere. And out comes this blob of hair running as fast as it can. Mark Cucurella getting on the end of it for the header. His 5th of the season is the only goal scored in this match. Chelsea gets a crucial 3 points, setting up a pretty high stakes final weekend for your old friends in the Blues. We'll talk more about that match in a little bit, as it looks like it could come down to
I like Rob. I like how you said.
Spot.
I like how you said we're trending by the clock when he was a healthy young man. He's only 26.
Yeah,
he's only 26.
Yeah,
and this is how insane it is that this man hasn't played soccer
over the last 3 years.
Yeah, he hasn't played in like 3 years.
Well, sporadically. Yeah, like for the captain of the club.
Yeah. For that, he's rarely available. When he plays, then he gets injured and becomes unavailable. Yep. So it's just completely. Did they? I like how they I like how no, I don't like it. It annoys me how they use semi-automatic offsides in the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, basically. It was supposed to start so much earlier and then keeps getting back.
It was supposed to start at the beginning of the season.
It was also supposed to speed things up. It has not.
I generally don't understand.
Now you get a graphic. Now you get a graphic. You get a graphic.
No, but why is it like that at the Euros? At the Euros, it was really quick. It was boom.
I'm
They
gonna
knew,
I'm gonna give you a
you
little
know.
secret. The people at Stockley Park are inept.
Yes,
Let's try and
because
keep it
Jesus,
between us that
yeah,
they are
Jesus,
really terrible
like,
at their jobs
no, because
at Stockley Park.
okay, but Rob, this bad, you
Yep.
got to be doing it on purpose if you're this
Just
bad.
just wait till we talk about the FA Cup. Just
No,
wait.
that's a good point. No,
Yeah,
but the FA Cup is run by
it's
the
really from the same
FA.
place. Yeah, from the same place.
But doesn't the Premier League have its own refereeing
I'm pretty
unit?
sure. Well, yeah, it's run by the same referees that work in the Premier League. But I'm pretty sure the guy running the FA Cup this year and from VAR was Darren England. I'm not going to say that for certain, but it was a Premier League ref uh, in the VAR booth for the FA Cup was one of the worst calls that VAR has ever made. And as a Chelsea fan, I can say that through gnashed teeth because of some of the bullshit that's gone against them. But yeah, I can't wait to talk about the FA Cup. I
Yeah,
can't wait.
I generally don't get it.
Moving on. Everton playing their final game at Goodison Park, and the good people who make the schedule said, "Here you go. Here's a softball." Hosting Southampton, Ferris. Now, Ilman Ndai made sure it was a nice, happy memory. Fantastic run in here. A low curling shot to score. Just 6 minutes in.
Mhm.
Vito's gonna miss or gonna score a couple of times. Both offside. I don't know if there's anybody in the league that goes offside more than Beto, except for maybe Nicholas Jackson. He might be the only one. Ndai is gonna get a brace. First minute of first half extras. Everton easily handles Southampton. It was nothing to, they did nothing in the second half, just took it easy. They did a little tour, maybe around Goodison and stuff like that, saw some of the sites. For the very last time, David Moyes will be managing Everton next week.
Moisey.
But what's he going to do after that? He still doesn't have, how does this guy not been signed to a contract? What else does he have to do? Or maybe he just doesn't want to do it.
Maybe.
Maybe he wants to go back to United or something stupid. I don't know. Who
No.
knows?
You know,
Who
he
knows?
did TV work.
Yep.
He probably enjoys drinking wine with Thomas Frank and them heckling Gary Lineker during his podcast. So one of my favorite moments
Is
of the
Gary
Euros.
Lineker going to still have a podcast?
Well, no,
I don't know.
this podcast is his own.
Yeah.
The other stuff, BBC fired him.
Yeah, we know he's not coming back.
Yeah, he's not doing match of the day, but he will do the rest of this football.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Because we've got championship preview, but this time a bit of the spotlight is going to shine at Leicester City at the King Power Stadium, where they're going to send off an absolute legend for the club, especially. I think, as far as the Premier League goes, a hell of a talent, a hell of a personality, a guy who comes up from the Sunday leagues to make it big on the biggest stage in English football. Jamie Vardy, this will be his final match. There was no way he was going to play the final away match. He was going to retire at Leicester. Still had one thing he wanted left to do. It's his 500th match. He's played 13 years for that club,
Mm-hmm.
and he's one shy of 200 goals in all competitions. We have to say that. In all competitions. Captain the squad out into the pitch. And in the 29th minute, when you know, it's going to be a nice little cheeky back heel shot from
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Vardy as he's running past, has everyone just frozen in place. He scores. King Power Stadium erupts. It's fantastic for them. I'm going to say this. There's a guy they have there named Casey McAteer. He was terrific in the first half. He was very good in the
What a
second half.
beautiful moment. What a beautiful moment.
For Jamie Vardy, I think he was happy with it. Of course, his kids are going to be there, but when he gets sent off in the 80th minute and he gets the honor guard from his teammates, well, he does it or whatever. It's the big moment for him. He gets to relax. He knows it's done. Big things maybe to come for Vardy. Big paydays because
MLS.
MLS is sure looking at him. Somehow TFC very interested in this guy, Toronto's football club. They
Well,
need a striker.
well, TFC needs to get their stuff together. After that debacle with the Italians.
They're- Then they like those small guys so much. They like the 5-footers over there. It's so funny. But anyways, Casey McAteer is going to add another one just to make the moment even better for the Fox faithful.
Mhm.
Casey McAteer now only 199 goals short of Jamie Vardy's record for Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll get
Casey
it.
McAtee, I believe he was a ball boy
Mm-hmm.
when Jamie Vardy. I don't know if he scored his 100th goal or something like that. But yeah, he was the ball boy, and then he got to celebrate with Jamie Vardy for the 200th goal.
Yeah, the future maybe of of Leicester City. A fantastic second half for him. Congratulations to Jamie Vardy. Just this year, what an excellent bit of trolling he did to people at Hotspur Stadium when he
Mm-hmm.
had to keep pointing at his league title and then pointing. So he's got one.
One of the greatest league titles in the Premier League history.
Yeah,
So and I don't that year
it's still
Arsenal should
set.
have won, but
I,
they ended up getting this just complete debacle by Arsenal that year.
well, Spurs had the chance of doing it, and then and Hazard said no. I still say
Mm-hmm.
Hazard should have a statue built of him just outside King's Power Stadium. You can put it beside. They could put it beside Jamie Vardy's. You know what I mean? I think it'll be fun.
It's like when South Korea beat a certain team in the World Cup that made Mexico advance in the World Cup. There's a statue of Hung Min Sung in Mexico City. There is.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Too funny. All right,
Yeah.
let's move on. Congrats, Jamie Vardy. Brentford at home to Fulham in the London Derby that people forget, and probably for good reason. Now, it was a very entertaining match. I'll say this over at
3-2.
old G Tech Community Stadium. The Bees are going to need a win to finish the season above 500 at home. They're a good squad, but they're terrible defending their own pitch. Also going to try and stay in contention here for 8th spot, a possible European spot. You can finish 8th and go into Europe in the Premier League this year. They could have 10 European spots by the end of the season,
You want to know why?
depending on a couple of things. Depending on a
You know
couple of
why?
things.
The European coefficient because of Arsenal.
Well, there's also because a lot of English teams did well in the UEFA
Oh,
Cup.
and Manchester United and Tottenham and
Yep.
Chelsea in the Conference League.
Don't forget Crystal Palace, but we'll talk about it in a second.
No. Crystal Palace got in because of the FA Cup.
Right. But I'm just talking about how they get 10 spots because
Mhm.
Crystal Palace not getting in there is not going to give 10 spots. If it's City, it's not going to be, it's only going to be 9. But we're going to go on to talk about this match because it was pretty fun. Now, Fulham is on a bit of a rough patch of late. They've only won once in their last 5 games. It's Raul Jimenez, this guy that if you're going to.
Hey, Adelia. How are you?
It's just an good afternoon. Adelia, how was the
How
weekend?
was
Well,
the weekend? Weekend was
talking
good.
about it right now. We're
Yeah,
talking about it right now.
I hate Fulham, man. I hate them so much. Why is it
Good.
that why is it every time they're against us they become like Barcelona 09, but then every other week they're like, should we play football this week? I don't
I don't
know.
know. I
Maybe.
think they make. I think Chelsea receives a rent check from them every time they play at home at the cottage. That's
Yeah.
basically our stadium now too. Anyways,
That's
Jimenez.
that's a statement, Robert.
Well, no, it's the damn truth. So, yes, Jimenez scores 16 minutes in. It's a nice header. Brian Mbumo is going to knot it up with a nice low roller just 5 minutes later. This is the big thing in this match. He gets the chance to move them up 2-1. From the spot after penalties taken, Brian Mbumo, a man who has, I believe, never missed a penalty chance until Sunday. Brent Leno getting to it. That's he has that weird kind of hop, the big long leg kick. Everything looked
They,
fine
they
until
all
the
do
ball
that.
came. Until it's his. This is the big jump, like a little leap and a jump. No run up. I think he cooked that actually from Ivan Tony, but uh, it comes off his boot with nothing. There was no power to this at all, and Leno, I think, actually goes by it. I think he stops it with his trailing hand. That's how slow this ball comes off. So still 1-1 until Yon Wissa will make sure they have a lead again. Yon Wissa's been so good. He takes the lead in the 43rd after a nice long, another one of those long throws from this time from Michael Coyote into the box, and it goes off a couple guys. Goes off Damsgaard and Noorgaard, and Wissa's just going to knock it in easy. 19 goals for Wissa somehow this year, and then no one's talking about ever going up to get Yon Wissa. I don't think he's all that old. I think he's only 27 or 28. That's strange. It's strange when nobody is
Hey,
pressing
crazy
at this.
story about Yon Wissa. He once had to miss a game to go to court, but you wouldn't think like, what do you mean go to court? He was attacked, an acid attack, Rob. He had to go.
Oh,
Yeah, he had to go and point out the perpetrator and the person who tried to attack him. So you think football player court, you think he's the criminal. Not this time around.
victim.
Wissa was the victim, but
Yeah.
thank God he's okay.
It
That's
reminds
how
me
I
of
know.
an SNL skit from the 90s with Mel Gibson called Josh Acid.
Mhm.
I can't find it anywhere. It's always been one of my favorites. He's a sheriff in the Old West. He even has a song that says he didn't have a gun, he didn't have a knife, he threw acid on people first. That's how he took a life. Josh Acid.
Mhm.
So, and yeah, sure, he throws a glass full of acid on a guy. He screams, "This is a bad criminal!" And then, of course, all the town folks turn against him. That's just, I don't know why that immediately jumped in my head, but Josh Acid, if you can ever find it, I highly recommend it. Now, second half is going to come, and it's going to be a couple of subs making all the difference in this one. Uh, well, for the Cottagers, anyways. First, we get 68th minute. Tom Carney flicks one in with his head. And then the winner, the 70th minute. The chant ringing out, who put the ball in the Brentford net? Harry Wilson, once again, after getting the brace last time out. I believe that was in, what was it, December? November or
Mhm.
December. He gets a curler. Lovely shot from 26 yards out, kind of up and down. Beats Mark Flecken. Flecken didn't even move. He was inside the box when he hit this. He doesn't even move. Absolutely frozen to the pitch. Beekeeper. That's 3 against Brentford this year. And the Bees now have to go for Liverpool to take care of some business at Brighton as they drop another at home. They will finish only 9 wins in the season at home for Brentford. Moving on to a match that important to Chelsea, maybe not so important to West Ham because nothing is ever important to them. At the London
They're
Stadium,
they're just
if
that
you
team
have
is
something
just
bad to say about them, say it.
no. It's just
That's
that
what we hear.
that team just exists.
Yeah.
It's just there
Yep.
because the only thing I know about West Ham is that Danny Dyer is a fan. That's it.
Yeah.
And that Danny Dyer's daughter, Danny Dyer, is married to Jared Bowen.
Mm.
So Danny Dyer, the father, must be really happy.
Sounds like a tongue twister.
Yeah, I know. Because they're you ever just Rob, you ever just look at yourself? You ever like
All
because
the
you're
time.
Canadian, right? No, you're just Canadian, right? And you just like ever look and be like, what's the purpose of New Brunswick, Canada? You know what I mean?
What?
Like why are you here? you know,
What?
that's the way I sometimes look at certain states. I'd be like, Delaware, what's your purpose in America?
Ow.
You know what I mean? That's how I look at West
Delaware,
Ham.
Delaware catching strays.
Yeah, but that's how I look at West Ham. Like What's your purpose? Why do you exist? Why are you here? You know what I mean?
The knuckle draggers needed to drop their money somewhere.
Yeah, I guess so. They're
Yeah,
still mad at us for taking Declan Rice, which it's not our fault. You know, man wanted to leave.
we were mad at them for taking him from our academy
Well,
for
you
no reason.
guys, didn't you guys like release him? So let's not act like you. Let's not act like they stole him. Like you guys told him to get out of here.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of people we've stolen from them. Frankie Lampard. But anyways,
Exactly.
who said that? Now, to the crucial moments here. For goodness sakes, first, because they played a match. Of course, Forest looking to take those 3 points back to the City Ground, back gets a matchup with Chelsea for all the marbles on the final weekend. Playing
Not even
with
Forest, man. What a disappointment down the stretch. Complete and utter disappointment.
maybe but what achievement from where they were to where they are. It's incredible.
Well, I know, but where you were at the season, why didn't you keep that pace? You didn't. You completely fell apart. You lost to Leicester City. You tied Leicester City. You should have beaten Leicester City. You wouldn't have been in this position. You would have been in the driver's seat. You had winnable games. You won those games early on the season. You only had the Premier League and the FA Cup to worry about. Really, like
Yeah.
those two competitions.
This is also a club that had somebody on staff, a former referee, just so they could go up and question what the referees did last year. These guys are nuts, and they had how many points deducted before that? What they did was phenomenal. It's not like they went
No,
out
no,
and made the big signings or anything like
yeah.
that.
Well, they made some good signings. They made the center back pairing, and then like the defensive midfielder, the little triangle they made with there. Then they have Morgan Gibbs White being their 10. Unfortunately, they lost Tayo Anuni for the rest
Yeah.
of 1 year. But if people got mad at Evangelos Marinakis, the owner, for being mad at Nuno. I would be mad at Nuno because I'm like, Nuno, you put us in a pace. We were third. How are we seventh?
Oh, when he came out on the pitch, he wasn't mad about where they were and stuff like that. They're going to get European. He was mad about. He was a ban about Iwanyi.
Yeah, he was. I think. Yeah. That might be. Thank you for correcting me, Rob. You're right. He wasn't mad at Nuno because I think he's
mad, not for reasons of the table or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Honestly, but I would be mad drawing to Leicester City. I would be angry. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would be mad.
Chelsea lost to Ipswich Town.
Yeah, so I would be very upset if I was.
People drop points out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah,
it happens to everybody.
Yeah,
but the fact that they were in that position to be disappointed in dropping points, I think it makes for a remarkable series.
I think honestly, to be quite honest with you, if Arne Slot didn't exist, I would have given Coach of the Year to Nuno or Manager of the Year to Nuno.
You still should. There's no way. What did Slot do? He took a bunch of superstars. He signed one guy that he barely plays. That's it. That's it.
That's true. But that team also was under Klopp and he failed.
Yeah, but everybody else failed this year. It's like everybody else kept dropping back. They were just consistent. They've been good. They were stayed good. Everybody else fell down. Some teams are rising up.
If Nuno gets it, I wouldn't be mad.
If Slot gets it, I'd be mad over Nuno. Over Nuno for sure.
Yeah, because you have to compare where Nottingham Forest almost got relegated last year. Now they're 7th. Well, actually, they're fighting. They
could get a Champions League spot. They beat Chelsea at home. They're in the Champions League.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they're in a great spot.
I think, and unfortunately, Rob, I'm sorry, I think they will.
I know. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Chelsea. Well, they're both going in without a striker. So but good news for Ohonyi. He was put into that medically induced coma. He was awoken on Wednesday. He says that he's in good spirits. I don't think he's going to
win it for him.
I don't think he's playing hopscotch or skipping rope this weekend, if you know what I mean. But at least he's in good spirits. And speaking of good spirits, Forest are in good spirits because it only took him 11 minutes. Both teams are having some real good chances early on. It was back and forth. It was a slugfest to start this match here. But Alphonse Areola been playing really well for them up to this point, but gives up a brutal giveaway to Morgan Gibbs White. He's going to score easily In the what is this in the 7th minute, um,
11th.
in the 11th minute. Now Nikola Milenkovic is going to add a second heading in and Anthony Elanga free kick. He gets his 5th goal of the series. Not bad for a center back, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Especially you really heard him starting back after January started coming on. Of course, you mentioned Jared Bowen. He has to
Jared
score.
Bowen.
He brings the Hammers within one in the 86th. Uh, and what a first touch to pop that up with the side kick or whatever, and then the sweep it home. Fantastic goal. And then Forrest starts using the dark arts that Arsenal has been uh, plagued with calls for early in the season. Not so much in the second half of the season, but a lot of time wasting going on. Hammers get very upset with this. What starts out as 11 minutes of extra time balloons to 17 minutes of extra time, but they probably could have played, another few minutes after that because Hammers weren't going to score another goal. That's
I
it.
still I still can't get past that Jared Bowen touch and strike, man. That was just
Terrific.
Trey Magnifique. Jared Bowen. You know what? Arsenal should buy him.
I'm sure they would sell. I'm just not sure what the price would be, and if Arsenal would want to pay it for Bowen. I think
Yeah, because
they
what
got
is
their also
Bowen?
good.
Bowen's is he a winger or is he what is he?
It'd be
Like
more of a. He's not a striker, so he'd be a winger or a 10.
yeah, so he would probably be, Odegaard or Saka.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, so to say if he even starts would be something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He probably won't even leave because he probably wants to start.
he's the
He,
captain of the club.
yeah.
He's right in the. He has a big stadium to play in front of. No pressure to win
Yeah,
at
football
all.
psychopath. Football. I call these people, football psychopaths. They want to play. They want to lead the line. They don't want to be a busybody in the back.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So all this does is set up the biggest matchup on Sunday. Uh,
they did
Chelsea
have a. They did
at the
have a.
Stadium.
Yeah, I know, but West Ham did have a good shot at the 102nd minute off of the corner, but it was a great stop by the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper.
Yeah, that sells. So we're gonna
Oh,
move on.
they started cells this week. Okay,
I believe so.
yeah, okay.
Uh, Moving on to the only match that really concerned you, but again, more than just one team could be affected by this result. Arsenal taking on Newcastle. The Gunners can assure themselves a Champions League spot and the bridesmaids position with a win over an Alexander Isak less Newcastle. And when he's out of that squad,
They
they're
are absolutely dog shit.
they're completely
They
different.
are horrible. They are
Say
not
this.
very good.
I'll say this: they win 1-0, of course, goal by Declan Rice. Congratulations to him. David Raya, especially in the first half, fantastic. The reason you
Stood on
guys
his head.
won, and
Stood
it's
on
about
his head.
time for you guys that you saw this because he has been terrible the last few weeks. The happy feet, making poor decisions. He makes the one poor decision that doesn't come back to bite him. He has the one poor clearance up the middle, but it's a far
Yes.
enough out where it doesn't bite him in the ass.
Yes.
But how many saves in that first half? 4, 5.
Just
Fantastic.
tremendous. The
One from his
double.
legs, the sweep again with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
arm.
The double save on the corner on Dan Burn and them. Dan Burn initially with the header, and then the other one, and then he kicked it away. It was tremendous. He played phenomenally today. David Raya. I'm gonna name my first daughter after you.
David,
Yeah,
you gonna name her David?
no. I'm gonna name her Raya. So let's calm it down here. Don't steal
Dave.
my name. This is my daughter, Dave. No, but
As
no,
Philip White, we'll call her Dave.
William Dave. Exactly.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it's just tremendous, and it just proves to me how a 9 could change a team,
Yep.
like just changes a team, because Alexander Isak changes them completely.
Yep.
And I have hated this Newcastle team for the past 2-3 years because they just keep getting away with bullshit. Always. Like they get away with stuff that no one else is allowed to get away with.
Anthony Gordon, famously the biggest flopper in the league. And it's not
Yo,
close.
not even that. And then I remember when we were at.
He could be a Hall of Famer at United.
Give him an Oscar. He could have, he flopped so bad that the Pizzagate game would have been second to none. I'm talking to you, Wayne Rooney. Okay, all right, I'm gonna keep it to myself.
He likes pizza, that's for sure.
Yeah, he eats a little bit too much pizza nowadays.
He enjoys a slice.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we showed some toughness physically, mentally. I thought we were gonna draw this game, and then I find out Isak isn't playing, so I'm like, it's definitely gonna be a draw because I didn't really trust our offense. I knew but the problem we ran into, Saliba got pulled, and then the game kind of changed because Kivior and Calafiori became our two center backs, and we played a little faster. We were decisive. We went forward. And it, makes sense. Calafiori, he plays a center back and a 3-back for Italy. Jacob Kivior, people talk about how Kivior is a very good center back. It's like, yes, of course he's a very good center back. That's his position. People didn't have any high hopes for him when he's playing fullback as a center back. And, most of the time fullbacks need to play with their feet. They need to play well. They need to ignite the break on occasion. He's a center back. He knows how to use his feet, but he's not like what Ben White did in the 25th minute where he took the ball and raced down into the other edge of the box and, trying to draw a foul, and it didn't work. But shout out to Jakob Kivior. Jakob Kivior and Ricardo Calafiori are people you don't sell if you're looking for titles. You keep them. I better see Jakob Kivior with us next year because I'm a big fan of him. And shout out to Calafiori for coming in during Saliba's being pulled. And, just offensively, man, it's just like there's no final product in the final third, man. It's just there's no end product. And, so what's going to happen here? Nothing happened. Trying to score on corners. Nothing's happening here, so shout out to, Declan Rice with the whip in, with the strike. People be underestimating this kid, man. Like people forget,
To say underestimating, I think is harsh. They paid $100 million for this guy, right?
I know, and people still
for that.
And
you
people
you can overestimate, I think.
Nah, man, I don't think people give him the credit he does because the midfield is sometimes a little fractured because of Thomas Partey being injured and not playing, and then Marino. I don't know what Marino's purpose is anymore, and how Declan can play the 10 when you tell him the 8, the defensive 6 when you need him to be. But I think he's better as an 8 going forward. His offensive game is very underutilized. And
isn't that where Odegaard plays?
He plays like the 8-10 role. You know what I mean? We play a 4-3-3 like everyone does. But, Odegaard's a little forward. It's kind of like Odegaard, Rice, Partey. Like they kind of play like in like a fractured line in a sense. Okay. But they're not, I think what Germany should have done with Wirtz and Musiala. But neither one of them, likes playing defense. So it is what it is. But it's just next year, I guess. Patrice Evra famously said with Arsenal, it's always next year. Unfortunately, I hate Patrice Evra, but for the past 3 years, he's been right. It's always next year with us, and we need to buy
the last 3.
Well, the last 25.
It's the last 21 years or so.
Yeah, no, 21, 25, 23.
2004?
The 03, 04, which is 22 years ago. But yeah, man, we need Sheshko. I find out that the report that Mikel and Beretta are not seeing eye to eye on the striker is actually incorrect. They're actually neck and neck on who they want. Either they're going to get Gyökeres or Šeško. I don't care. Just give me one of them.
Yeah, I think Šeško. I mean, it's going to be hard for Gyökeres not to go to United. I think the only way is that if United decides they're going to reinvest in Hoyland or something ridiculous. Yeah, I think Gyökeres goes back to play with Amorim again. Šeško, again, that size. He's the like we've talked about this off air.
He's a good target man. He's a great target. He's a
This is
6'5".
He's built for this. He's built
Yes.
for Arsenal's line. It's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
they haven't just gotten a dump truck, filled it with diamonds, jewels, cash.
I think
laid
both
it down at his parents' place
Yeah,
and said, "Here, take this."
I think both strikers are valued at the 60 to 65 million range.
Yeah, but
And
if there's a bidding war, which happens, you guys have
Yes.
to win it. You guys have to win it.
Yes. Unless, outside chance, Alexander Isak.
No. And if you think 65 million is the price,
No, with him, it's gonna be 100 million.
oh, it's more than that. I'd say
120.
It starts 120. It starts 120. Does Arsenal, who famously won't pay anywhere near that, actually double what they think this is worth for a striker to get Alexander Isak? I don't know. I don't think so.
I think they're gonna go with Šeško at 65.
I think so too.
Or 60. Yeah. By the way, I also want Dan Burn arrested for what he did to my goalie at the end of the match. Him and I don't know which one of the Nottingham Forest guys that dyed his hair again, just like Bruno Guimaraes, that guy. Man, like I keep saying, you man, they're a bunch of rascals and ruffians. They get away with nonsense, bro.
They're with the Geordies all the time. This is what happens.
Nah, bro, it's nonsense, bro. I remember when Guimaraes forearm shivered Jorginho in the back of his head.
Yep.
Back of his head. I also just found out why we're trying to re-sign Thomas Partey, because Jorginho is going to Flamenco. So Zubimendi and Partey are going to be our sixes. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was a good game all around, and we'll see next time next year. Clinches Europe, clinches second place. Oh, it's Sulo. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Loser.
Arteta doesn't get it done next year. I don't think he's around. I think this is the last year for the Arteta project.
Yeah, because it's been
but he's taken them to a level, and then they need to go to that.
It's been 6 years, man. It's been 6 years. It'll be 6 years, I believe. It'll be 6 years next year.
And brought them from nothing. Let's say this: you did bring them into contention the last 3 years, but if they can't get over next year, that one extra spot, they got one extra spot. You don't get it second.
Yeah. Fun fact: the last team to go second 3 years in a row, they won it on their fourth try.
Mm-hmm.
You know who that team was?
Go through my head. I know Chelsea finished second in 2003-2004, but I don't think they finished second the year before. Who is it? Let's say Arsenal.
It was Arsenal.
Yeah.
It was Arsene Wenger was second 3 years in a row, and the fourth year he won the domestic double. So I expect a domestic double.
Who? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I do.
I think you'll be happy with a trophy. I think that would
no. Okay, yes and no. I want the league, and in Champions League we were semifinalists.
Yep.
Okay. Without a striker.
Yeah.
Okay. Without a striker, we beat Real Madrid without a striker.
Yeah.
Okay. We played okay to good against PSG without a striker. There were times where we looked better than them. We were great. And there's times where we didn't. Yeah, moments. If we get Benjamin Šeško or Gyökeres or Merickley, Alexander Isak shocks the world or whatever, and if we don't get the league or one of the cups, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed.
Yeah. Well, welcome to life as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, well,
it's that perpetual feeling of annoyance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, let's keep going We've got a couple other matches to go through here. First off, the champions had a match on Monday, rolling down to the South Coast, to the Amex Stadium here. And Liverpool are just willing to sag into this one. They don't care. Virgil van Dijk held off the starting 11. It's the first time in 69 Premier League games that he hasn't featured on the back line.
They're losing this match too because they don't care no more.
Trent Alexander-Arnold not playing, even though we know he's going to be going to Madrid at the end of the season. Also, lots of rumors about who Liverpool wants to get. Like there might be going after Kirkesh and stuff like that. This is really going to be the interesting thing.
Jermaine Frimpong.
Well, they've already signed Frimpong. Suppose just have to wait for the end of the season. Yeah, I did like the one stat I saw. It was like in his last 3 seasons or something like that, Frimpong has been dribbled past 13 times. And Trent Alexander-Arnold had 14 happen against him once in a game. So yeah, but Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't a goddamn right back. He's a midfielder disguised back there, and it never made sense to me.
But then they tried to, but he played midfield for England, and he didn't work either.
But that's his position as midfield. He's not a right back. This is crazy that it keeps getting put there because they didn't have a better option.
Okay, but if you're being dribbled past as a right back as a midfielder, you're not going to play.
Well, he's not in the midfield when he's a right back when he's on defense.
No, Rob. But you're telling me he's a midfielder. But if you stink at defense as a right back, how your defense is going to magically improve if you're a midfielder? It didn't when he was in England.
He's going to be playing farther forward. He's not going to be. He's not going to be dependent. He's not going to be dependent against.
So 10.
Well, he's not going to be. No, he's not going to play forward. He's still going to be in the midfield. But you're more worried about being dribbled against down low towards goal and stuff like that than you are at like the midfield spot.
Well, no, well, if you start the break from the midfield, all hell breaks loose, and then you overextend your back line if you still can't play defense in the midfield. If you're telling me like he's a roaming 8 that doesn't really play defense, he's still useless.
I'm sure Madrid will find a spot for him.
Yeah, they always do.
He's not in the back line. That's all I'm going to say. He is not.
They found the defender worse at defense than him.
Yeah.
In Jermaine Frimpong.
He's better than defensively, much better.
Yes.
It's not your day.
Frimpong is worse.
Frimpong is worse defensively than Trent Alexander-Arnold.
It's what you told me, right?
No, he's been dribbled. He's been dribbled against 13 times in the last 3 seasons or something like that.
Okay.
Alexander-Arnold had that happen to him in a single game.
Okay, that's what you meant. All right, got you. Okay, yes. I was like, I'm very confused here, Rob. What are you talking about?
No. Frimpong should be better, but this is going to be this next season. This isn't the slot season. This is still Klopp's season.
Yeah, because he's starting to add his players.
He's going to add his guys. They're bringing in Kirkesh, who looked good at Bournemouth earlier on, but haven't seen much of him as of late. So yeah, Milos Kirkesh.
Is that one of their defenders?
Yeah. Well, he plays on I think he's a left back.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't heard about Kirkesh. When someone says Bournemouth, I think of Antoine Semenyo and Justin Kluivert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think of their defenders.
No. Well, he's been good. But anyways, it'll be interesting to see what he does in Liverpool. Liverpool's going to be a much different squad next year. I'm going to say this right now. Anyways, Brighton, a lot to play for here as they can still end up in Europe spot and go to Europe. Need a result. It doesn't start out too well for them though, because Harvey Elliott is going to put Liverpool on the board in the 9th minute. Connor Bradley somehow is just allowed to walk into the box. No one goes near him. He finds Elliott just slash in. Yeah.
No one has respect for him, I guess.
I guess so. Anyways, he's allowed to slash in, scores easily. But Brighton, he says, okay, we get it. And they just go and get another one. Yazanyeri levels it with a shot from the top of the box. Another shot that just paralyzes a goalkeeper. I don't get it. I thought maybe it went off somebody. Doesn't seem to be. Just Allison just stapled himself to the pitch. That's all. That was in the 32nd minute. But just moments before halftime, Dom Sapozalai puts a well-placed shot from one corner of the box to the other corner of the net. Terrific. Doesn't even hit it very hard. He just placed it really well. That gives Liverpool the 2-1 lead going into the half. Now, the second half. Again, it's the story of the subs. 4 minutes coming on. Karim Matoma comes in to puts Danny Welbeck rebound in to draw it level once more. And then 4 minutes after that? No, sorry, the 84th minute. Jack Hinchelwood comes in, and 45 seconds later, gets the winner for Brighton, even though it was originally called offside. They took a look at this for a little while, but Jared Kwanzaa for sure had played him on. And even though the match means nothing to Liverpool, they lose yet again. I don't think this is the way you want to go out as champions by just dropping matches to and fro.
That's 2 in a row, correct? Is that 2 in a row?
They lost to Chelsea. They've lost to Brighton. I think they won last week, though, didn't they? They were at home. Well, I can't remember what the score was. So anyways, the big thing here is Brighton staying in for Europe with huge 3 points going into the final weekend. But before we talk about these next 2 matches that were had to be postponed temporarily.
Hey, Rob, what happened to Evan Ferguson with Brighton?
He got loaned out to, trying to think off the top of my head, was it Ipswich? But he hasn't played. He's played like twice or whatever since he got loaned out.
Is he injured? What's wrong?
Nope. He's just not getting He's just not
West
getting
Ham.
West Ham. That's it. That's why you never heard of him. Yeah. I don't know.
And they were talking about selling him for $100 million. My ass.
They were talking about selling him to Chelsea for $100 million because
Okay,
that was at that point where everyone thought that Chelsea would pay $100 million for everybody, and they were probably right.
Yeah, they were right because you guys paid 3 people $100 million.
Yeah, one worth it. I would pay $100 million for Caicedo. He's been fantastic. For Enzo, I don't know. They made it up with the pretty smart signings. Like Palmer didn't cost very much. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, but Palmer was 65.
Last 25.
No, not 25. No,
it wasn't very much for Cole Palmer.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't 25. I think it was like 65.
I don't think
or
so.
55.
No, because I know 65 is what we sold Havertz for, and it certainly wasn't 65 million. We got Palmer for. I think we kind of fleeced City on that one. But anyways, go to the FA Cup quick because it did feature 2 Premier League sides.
40.
Yeah, 40 million. There you go. So, yeah, we fleeced them. Now, we got Palace. We got City. City, of course, the huge betting favorites, I think you could say. Until you get on the pitch, it doesn't matter. Now, on the pitch, they were dominant, to say the least, over Palace. Mm-hmm. But Dean Henderson was fantastic. He was absolutely terrific, making huge saves.
Yep.
In the 24th minute, though, well, first off, we'll say this. Palace didn't have very many chances. 19th minute, I believe that at this point, City had 88 or 89% of the ball. But it doesn't matter when you're a counter-attacking squad. And Eber Eze manages to get a goal past Ederson. They make it 1-0 Palace. Everyone's shocked. 5 minutes after, Erling Haaland is sent in. And Henderson, I don't know what he was thinking. He was kind of like he was stuck between 2 frames of mind. To drop back, to rush the ball, just to clear it and stuff like that. But Haaland's coming maybe faster than he thought. He goes to the end of his box and swipes the ball into touch. Now, the ball didn't make it to the box. So that's why this is a red card. It's a red card, clear as day. Missed on field by Jared Gillette, who did not have a great weekend for sure. Yeah, he made some
There's no
terrible
VAR
decisions.
in the FA Cup, is
There
there?
was VAR. This is why
Okay.
we're saying VAR is a load of shit because it's not close fairs. The ball is at least a foot before hitting the box. They
Yeah.
looked at it through VAR for good 2 minutes and did not counter the rest decision. They let it go.
They yeah, they wanted the Crystal Palace story more than the Manchester United story again. You know.
Well, I tell
And
you,
and you know what? You know what? Good.
I have zero problems with this. I
Yes.
have zero problems. Now, they do have a chance. Like not long after this, I can't remember who it is, but they're taking down the box.
Yeah,
Erling
penalty.
Holland picks. Erling Holland picks up the ball for the penalty. Erling Holland, who has never scored at Wembley, picks up the
Has it
ball.
Rob, more specifically,
Yeah,
he hasn't scored in a final for Manchester City ever.
right. He picks up the ball and gives it to what's his name? Not Mazraoui.
Omar
The
Marmoush.
Marmouche. I don't know why I had Mazraoui in my head. Marmouche.
Uh,
Marmouche puts the ball down. Marmouche to take the penalty, and Henderson makes the save, and then makes the ensuing rebound save off of Holland to boot. It's fantastic. It's all City. I guess the Palace is going to put another one in late that gets called off for offside, but it didn't matter. Palace wins the FA Cup. It's the first major trophy they've ever won. Ever.
ever.
They never win. They finally got silverware to go home
South
to Selhurst,
London
to go home
represent
to
South
Selhurst Park.
London.
Yeah, let's not get too excited. Let's not get too excited.
My boy Eddie and Ketty is on the squad, so I'm a little.
Well,
I'm
let's talk
shout out to
about
my
that
boy.
match because he was terrific today. Finally, uh, uh, he's already opened his account at Palace, but this is the one where he really makes his debut, I would say, for
He's
Palace. It only
he's
took
he's
28 appearances.
I tell people, I think I told Adelia this all the time when we were talking about who do we start at striker, right? Because
Hmm.
I think Kai got hurt or something, or somebody got hurt, and it was like Eddie. I was like, Eddie is not a striker you bring off the bench. He's not an off the bench striker. I don't see it. He's a guy who has to have the game. He needs
You
to
have to
build
grow,
within the game.
grow with the game.
Yes. Yes, and he scores. He's scored goals, important goals against big teams. I remember the goal against Manchester United that saved us in the season that we weren't supposed to like win. He scored a poacher. He scored three against Sheffield United. I know it was Sheffield United, but he still scored a hat trick against them. You know, it's still impressive because he grew within the game. He's not an off the bench guy.
Nope.
He's not an off
And
the bench guy.
he didn't. He started this match. He gets two quick succession of 5 minutes. Gets one in the 27th. The
Mhm.
32nd makes it 2-1 for Palace. The second half, one of my old buddies, Ben Chilwell, on loan over at Crystal Palace. He was very excited about winning the FA Cup. I thought that was fun, considering he didn't play a single second in that match and barely featured for them at all. But he started in this one and gets a free kick in the what was it the 50th minute. Wolves set up their wall, and I don't know if it's Jurgen Strand Larson that jumps and maybe it glances off his head, but it deflects. It goes in past the Wolves keeper. It wasn't Jose Sa, it was their backup. Ben Chilwell gets a goal. Ben Chilwell gets his first goal in like 2.5 years, for goodness sakes.
I like this Crystal Palace team. It's also, you know, it features probably one of the best Americans abroad in Chris Richards. He's starting regularly at Crystal Palace. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
got rid of Joakim Anderson in the back line, so I think because they were like, we still have Richards, so we're fine. And yeah, it's right. They still had Richards and they were fine. You know, Chris Richards, big part of them winning I'm about to say the Stanley Cup, the FA Cup. They kept the clean sheet, which is, you know, great, but you know, Shout out to Chris and the crew in the back end.
Chris and the crew. Well, I mentioned Jurgen Strand Larson. Mia deflected off of him on its way in for Chilwell's goal. He'll get one back for Wolves in the 62nd, but the man in form for the last little while, Crystal Palace, Eber Eze. He gets his 7th goal in the last 6 matches in all competitions for the Eagles as your Europa League bound Crystal Palace
Yes.
takes down Wolves in a match that really didn't matter anything. It really mattered nothing. But I just thought you might enjoy hearing about Eddie and Kedia for a little
My
bit.
boy, man. He's my boy.
Last match to take care of.
You know what? They need to give us Eze because we give him in Kedia.
Oh, you think that's fair?
I think that's fair.
Okay. Remember, he did go 5 months without scoring a goal.
You know what? I'll take John Philippe Mateta instead.
Mateta's been right. He's wearing that weird headgear now. I don't know if something happened to him. Anyways.
Yeah, it's not like somebody kicked him in his face or something.
So now, final match is going to happen at the Etihad. Manchester City, Bournemouth. Big match for Bournemouth because they need to win to stay in in competition for that 8th spot. But they're going up against a City squad that also needs to win and keep their spot or whatever in the Champions League. It's also going to be Kevin De Bruyne's final game at home for City.
Good riddance.
The more rumors you hear about Liverpool wanting to sign this guy, it's like for where, for what? It makes no sense. It
For
makes
who?
no sense.
For what?
Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne was a very good City player. I'll say he was even better at City than he was at Chelsea.
Well, that's like me saying Mo Salah was better at Liverpool than he was at Chelsea.
Well, I'll grant you that too. I think he was a little better at Liverpool.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I said I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You know what? He was probably better than he was probably better at FC Basel and Roma than he was at Chelsea.
Yeah, well, he was he was at a pretty low point for a bit or whatever after because he did not play well at Chelsea. It wasn't just Chelsea giving up on him; he wasn't playing well. He had to take a little bit to find himself, but he did.
Y'all got rid of him at like what, 22?
He was young. That's all I know. He wasn't. He's not like he was like an academy kid or anything like that.
No, he bought him from me. He was Egypt.
Yeah.
But it was Roman Abramovich, man. It was hey, shit or get off the pot. We're here to win trophies. We're not, you know what I mean? Still
should be that way, but it's not. Now we got to grow all these little kids. Oh well, whatever. Now, to the actual match itself. Bournemouth need to win this week. They need to win this week. There's a lot riding on them. 14th minute, we mentioned Omar Marmoush missing that penalty, but he makes up for it with a legitimate goal of the year candidate in the 14th minute. An absolute stunner. He's about 31 yards out when he hits it. It's just a missile. It hits the bar right in the corner, drops in. Fantastic goal.
Every time I watch him play, I just think of Eintracht Frankfurt and how like they sold their best player, well maybe their best player for 80 million in the winter, and they still got Europe because they're a well-run club.
That's their job to sell people. Their job isn't to win. Their job is to collect money from finding talent when they're young. So this drives me nuts what Chelsea's doing. Drives me absolutely nuts. It's against everything Chelsea stands for. But anyways,
I can't wait. I can't wait till whoever signs Ugo Ekitike. He's gonna be I hope he does well because him and Marmoush together when they were there was pretty good. You know what? Ugo should come to Arsenal, man. Make Arsenal French again.
You're starting to sound like a Chelsea guy. Oh, this guy should have, or United guy. They could do the same thing. Yeah. Now, Bernardo Silva is going to add another one in the 38th. It was played by Ilkay Gundogan in the pass. Second half, 2 red cards for each team within 6 minutes of each other, 7 minutes. First one, Mateo Kovacic, does the old, he gets blown by. It's a clear chance on goal. He takes the man down. It's a
Mm-hmm.
red card. I don't think anybody in the stands even booed. It's like, yep, that's a red card. What are we going to do? But also, looking at Mateo Kovacic, he doesn't look healthy. I know Mateo Kovacic. That doesn't look like Mateo Kovacic right now playing over at City. It looks weird. It looks gaunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think they didn't buy any midfield support.
He's been
Uh,
good. Is this his best? For Kovacic's credit, it's his best season that he's had of the couple that he spent in
no,
City.
no, I know, I
But
know. I
it's
think
just the
I
look
think
on
they've
his face. The look on his face. He doesn't look
I
healthy.
think yeah, I think they overplayed him.
Maybe.
I don't think he joined City to be playing this much. I think he
Well,
was there.
there was a guy who did pretty
Yes,
well for City that has missed quite a bit of the season. He has been the
exactly.
focal point of excuses. He makes his return in this match in the 83rd minute. But
Exactly. So I that's why I think them not bringing in any midfield support overextended Mateo Kovacic, and that's why he looks gaunty and injured and overextended because he was like, I came here to play
looks
like 20
thin.
matches this season.
He looks thin.
Yeah, he's
Um,
like,
One thing that happens though, when Kovacic pulls down, I can't even remember who he pulled down. Oh, Evan Nilsson. He pulls Evan Nilsson.
makes sense.
Uh, One thing that happens is they need defense on the City line.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where Kevin De Bruyne makes his exit in the 69th minute. Standing ovation, that whole bit, a couple of nice Kevin De Bruyne songs. As he walks off, he goes out. He had a pretty good career at City. I'll say that.
Yeah, 10 years,
Couple of
7 Premier Leagues.
yeah, none of which
Uh,
earned. Let's just say this: they earned none of them. 115 charges. What happened to
yes,
those? This is why nobody cries for City at the FA Cup. Nobody.
yes.
It's baloney.
One Champions League, a
Yep.
couple FA Cups.
One Champions League lost. I can
Yes,
remember that one very well.
yes, and he got hurt in both finals.
Yep. Good. Jerk.
Yes.
That's what I said. So, anyways, yeah, just 6 or 7 minutes after that, Lewis Cook, absolutely terrible studs up challenge to Nico Gonzalez, who just come on, gets him in the shin. I don't know what he was thinking. So, I think Kovacic is going to miss the last game. I think he only missed one extra game for having a red card for pulling somebody down, but of course,
It
Lewis
doesn't
Cook,
matter.
Lewis Cook is going to miss the first couple games. Next season. Gonzalez, speaking of him, he's going to score his first Premier League goal to make it 3-0. This is late. I think that's the 89th minute. And then a Canadian is going to break the clean sheet up for Bournemouth here. Daniel Jessen getting a consolation goal well into extra time.
Gibson.
Yeah, his first for the Cherries. Raji made his return in the 83rd minute. So City just needs a result against Fulham. One single point assures them of the Champions League, and that's it for
Mm-hmm.
Bournemouth. They're done. They can't. You know what? They get to collect next week paycheck,
Yes.
which is pretty good. I think they do. Okay, but that's it. That's it for the second to last weekend in the Premier League. The second to last start of the 24-25 season fairs. But we got one thing left to do, and that's for you to use your sorcery. Every game this week, as you know, will be played at the same time, so no shenanigans.
No
You know what I mean?
shenanigans.
No
Yeah, I get
shenanigans.
you.
It's
No
the
shenanigans.
shenanigans free weekend. Speaking of shenanigans, Delia and I were talking about how you use dark magic to create winning results every week. Guess who gets the winning result this week?
Adelia.
Adelia gets 7 right. So she found your little spell book, pal. Might not do any good for this year. But come next year, watch it, because she knows your little secrets. So she got 7. You and I both got 6. We got 10 games left to cover here, Ferris. 10 games in the season, but so much at stake next weekend. And it's
I
going
think
to
the
start with,
lowest I've ever done was 2, and that was
yep.
match week 10.
Well, I
But
got
that
that. Is that the week that you forgot to do a whole bunch of the things?
maybe.
Yep, could be. Very well could be.
But
Okay.
I got a couple of 8s. I've never been perfect, which I'm kind of annoyed.
Oh, well, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, it is what
Okay.
it is.
Well, now moving on. The final weekend starts with a couple of the most important matchups here on the Sleeper app. First, Bournemouth at home to Leicester.
Bournemouth.
I'm gonna say Bournemouth. This is the new Vardy-less era. Leicester
Hmm.
begins at Bournemouth. Next, Ipswich Town takes on West Ham. Ipswich, their last match in the Premier League, maybe for a little while.
Go West Ham.
I think what did it take? 30 years for them to get back last time. He's gonna take
Hmm.
West Ham on the road. I'm gonna say a draw because who cares about this game?
I think Jared
Next,
Bowen scores a couple of goals. I think West Ham wins.
ooh, all right. You don't think Liam Delap tries to show off for some people? Liam Delap, a name that really Ipswich needed to get rid of in January because he has fallen off.
Hmm.
Fulham in that huge matchup against City,
I
but it's
think
at the
Fulham.
cottage.
I think Fulham wins.
I think Fulham wins too.
I
I'm
think
picking
Fulham
Fulham.
wins. Yes.
I think there's something on about City. Maybe this could be something weird happening.
Hmm.
Next match that two teams assured of a spot in Europe. Liverpool, they're at home. They're the champions. Think they're gonna not want to have the poor performances of the last couple of weeks. They're taking on Crystal Palace.
I think Crystal Palace wins.
I think Palace wins. I think I'm gonna pick Liverpool in this one. I think they take the points at home. Crystal Palace, you know, try not to get injured anybody. That's the entire thing they have to say. Newcastle taking on Everton in a big matchup as well at St. James Park.
I chose Everton because I don't think Alexander Isak's playing next week.
I'm choosing Everton too. I'm choosing it more because I could really use a win from Everton here. Maybe David Moyes has some magic left in him in this squad. Maybe Newcastle, or we'll shake it. See what happens. United really needs to beat Villa for me. I don't think they can do it though.
No, I think Villa wins.
Yeah, Villa's that match. Next, the big one for me. Big one of the season, maybe the biggest match, regular season match, Premier League in quite some time. It's Forest taking on Chelsea at the City Ground.
Go Nottingham Forest.
Okay, you're a monster. Uh, I'm taking, of course, I'm taking Chelsea. Ooh, this is the
Of
most
course.
ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
I've
Uh,
never, Rob. You're talking to a man who's never ever said Arsenal will lose a game all season.
yeah,
The
well,
the, the yeah the weeks where I'm like Arsenal may not win. I take a draw. You never say your team's gonna lose. It's
no,
just never gonna happen.
I'd rather be wrong. I'd
Yes,
rather be wrong than say
I'd
they're
rather
gonna.
be wrong. That's
Yeah.
the rule. Always bet against your team because
Yep.
either you win money or you're happy.
Yep. Tottenham Hotspur.
Brighton. Let's move on. Come on.
They've lost 21 times.
Yes.
Southampton gets to host your Arsenal in their final match in the
Arsenal.
Premier League for at least a year. Arsenal should take that one easily. And this could be an interesting match. Two teams with nothing really to play for, but it's at the Molyneux with Wolves and Brentford.
I took Brentford because Wolves are because Wolves suck.
Brentford, you never
And
know what you get. They have the guys that can score, but
they also sold Matthias Cunha. So
yeah, Cunha's going to United. He is
yes.
tired of winning. He has given up on being successful. Good luck to you, Cunha. I hope the paychecks are worth it. I'll take Wolves, and I wonder if he sits on the bench and watches them win. That'd be fun.
Mm.
Okay, that's it. Next week, the final starting 11 of 24-25. Ferris, it has been a pleasure talking football with you on this Tuesday evening. Can you let anybody who's watching/listening know what you're up to here on the Let's Get Ready Network, your pal?
Yeah, you guys, on our sports channel every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific. Um, I host the American football,
Mm-hmm.
Good Friends, Better Rivals, and on our entertainment channel, me and Rob, Thursdays, Fridays. Thursdays, Buffy, the original Rewatchers Council show. And then Fridays, we do The Angel, which is the spin off version. And then on Saturday, we do the MCU version. This week, Buffy, Wild at Heart, season
Mm-hmm.
4, episode 6. This week, Angel, season 1, episode 6, Sense and Sensitivity.
You got it. You got it.
Yes, guy, you got it.
You got
And
it,
then
buddy.
Saturday, the MCU, me, Justin, and Matt, we are reviewing Thor. All shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern.
I tell you what, I hope my heart isn't Thor after
Uh-huh.
next weekend, if you know what I
Mhm.
mean.
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing I could say on top of that is, uh, before joining you on this program, I talked the Stanley Cup playoffs with our buddy Ryan Christensen, playoff beards. You can find that here on the Sports Network. If you didn't watch live, it'll be around if you guys want to hear a couple of Canucks' version going on
The
in the
Canucks.
NHL playoffs. Now, also, there's going to be no LGRN after Snark this weekend. You know, uh, Danny's running off somewhere. So
Gallivanting.
we're going to be returning in a couple weeks. We talked a little bit about the Thunderbolts at the end of the last LGRN after Snark. I hadn't seen it. I closed my ears and sang songs while you guys talked about it, so I wouldn't be spoiled.
Mhm.
Tanny and I went to go see it Sunday, so we will be talking a little more in depth about Thunderbolts
Wait,
this time.
initial report, Robert.
Loved it. I think it's pretty easy to say that. I
Yeah.
loved it. All right, but guys, that's going to be it for starting 11 for the week. Thanks everyone for watching, everyone for listening. Do the like and subscribing and those things. We've had a banner running down below on the screen, but if you're just listening up, join our Discord. It's free. We also have a Patreon page, a Ko-Fi page. What else do we have? We take checks or something. I don't know. Anyways, all that's available. Let's Get Ready Network. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time. Maybe.